Welcome once again to the Frontline Show on Intellectual Radio. I'm your host, Tyrone Muhammad. Listen, powered by supportyourlocalweedman.com. Powered by supportyourlocalweedman.com, T2 Finishes, and ECCSC. Once again, I got the good brother Doug Kelly here, and we're going to have a continuation of our conversation last week, along with what happened. What was that, yesterday in front of the governor's mansion? So people get ready, call in live. We're waiting on your call. That's 708-223-8953, 708-223-8953. Let's go, people. Let's get. Hey, Doug, we back, brother.
Yes, we are.
Go
Glad
ahead,
to be back.
man. I'm gonna shut it down for a second and let you talk a little about what it was that we did yesterday and what we will continue to do during this Black History Month, as it relates to cannabis, equity, inclusion, and then the violence that's going on in our community as we figure that thing out as well. So go ahead, brother. The people listen. You got the full.
All right. Once again, this is Douglas Kelly from the Cannabis Equity Illinois Coalition. Proud to be here again with Tyrone. Yesterday, we had a public hearing in front of Governor Prisoner's house. We had some great organizations out there. We all talking about equity. And we are no longer just talking about equity with cannabis. We want equity in everything now. They have woke up that sleeping giant. Now they're going to have to pay. You know what I mean? No longer are they going to be able to come to our neighborhoods around election time and give us that same old speech about what they going to do for us. If they ain't doing it, they won't be in that seat no more. Thank you, Georgia, Stacey Abrams, for showing us the way, giving us that light. Now we taking this nationwide. All these politicians out here thinking they can just come in our neighborhoods when on election time and try to get our votes and still not do nothing to our communities, not fixing our streets, our sidewalks, none of that. Them days are over. Everybody on notice. Those days are gone. We're going to put the right people in the right place at the right time. Yesterday, we did a public hearing just to let Prisoner know where he has failed. He has failed us in a lot of different areas as governor. Educational-wise, cannabis-wise, he sold us this dream, and none of us still have nothing. Oh, man, that's not the way this is going to go down this time, you know. We did everything we were supposed to. We followed the rules. We paid for our applications. We did all the nice stuff, man. Now it's time for you to stand up and be a man. Be accountable for the things that you said you was going to do. That's all we ask. We ain't asking for no handouts. We asking for you to do exactly what you said. This is going to be the most equitable cannabis industry ever here in Illinois. Do that. That's all we asking, man. We ain't asking you to move the world. We ain't asking for the whole kid and caboodles. We want our part. That's it. That's all. That's all you need to do. Do what you said you was gonna do.
It's almost to me, and from what we've been dealing with in the whole area, for whether it's construction, whether it's, business opportunities and in terms of banking, whether it's in housing, whether it's in just dealing with the whole aspect of being able to be equal in this country, in this city, in every aspect. It's like we constantly begging the devil to give us a portion of his success. And it's like at some point, I'm thinking that we got to take it. It's like, how long have we been doing it the right way? How is it that we constantly do things the right way, yet getting further and further from progress? I hear people say, hey, man, you got to do this. You got to play the game. You got to do this. But when I think of the best game players in the world, man, the most equitable, honorable, shall I say, call towards human decency was Dr. King.
Absolutely.
In our time, not in my time, but where we was able to look back in history to see all the speeches, all the beautiful words. He's not cursing. He's not loud and boisterous. He's got the English diction down pat. He has the Jesus persona down pat. And yet, he's dead. Yet, a man like that is not protected by a country like this. It's like you got the Malcolms, the worst side, or the side that they don't want to accept. They Malcolm, their hero now. Malcolm is all this and all that now that he's no longer around. But then you got Dr. King, who represented a peace and an inclusion side. Well, Malcolm represents separation and truth. Separation, African. Let's get back. Let's go back. Marcus Garvey. Let's get back. Black Panthers. Let's get back. Well, here's Dr. King, the epitome of what a true Christian really is in this earth that we're living in. Mm-hmm. Only one I've seen, and if you want to be truthful, that would turn the other cheek while somebody is hitting you in your face. Mm-hmm. Bro, listen, man. And his dream is a nightmare. If Dr. King was here today, what would he say about equity, diversity, and inclusion in a country that he pretty much gave his life for? And the idea and the fallacy that he gave his life for. At what point then, Doug, if we doing everything the right way, at what point do we make this enemy, this devil, this person who claimed to be about equity and inclusion, I'm talking about J.B. Pritzker, give us or see to it that we're serious? What do it take, bro?
Well, that's the $1 million question right there. What is it going to take for us to get what we deserve, man? And sorry, I didn't mention Happy Black History Month. This is our month, so let's take full advantage of it. We're going to be out here just like we did this public hearing at Governor's House. Every week this month, we going somewhere else. We going to tell these people, that we want our equity, we want inclusion, and like you were saying, King did everything the right way, and we've been trying to play nice and do everything the right way. And I'm not saying we finna go all rogue and tear stuff up, but our voices are gonna be heard. Now, it's time for us to start thinking other strategies. Like, we do need to start thinking about taking care of ourselves, and stop asking them for stuff. I'm working on some stuff right now to make that happen for us. And then we feed ourselves, man. We cannot depend on the governors, our politicians, to do what's right for us anymore. We've been doing that for 400 years, looking for other people to lead the way for us and show us the way. We know the way. We got too many intelligent people. You look out through your way. That's right. You look at Black history and you look at all the things that we invented, and our slave owners had the ability to take whatever we invented and made it theirs. But we invented all this stuff. We are the trendsetters. And the moment we realize that, wake up and notice that, then we can be our own boss, man. And we're not looking for jobs. We're looking for ownership. That's the only way you get generational wealth. You can't get generational wealth being a worker. Right. You got to own something. That's that's what we plan on doing. We planning on making owners, not just workers, and giving people careers. So you can feel proud of yourself when you go home to your family. You can't continue to tell people to stop doing this and doing that, and when you're not giving them another way. That is, stop doing this and stop doing that. But I'm starving, man. My family's starving. No man is going to sit back and watch their family starve. I know I'm not.
So when we talk about the big three, it could be more. You could, apprise the people of if I leave one of these companies out. We got Farmer Can. We got Cresco. and we got GTI. That's Green Thumb
Green Thumbs.
Industry. And then we got another big one trying to come in, right, to Chicago. Is it I think it started with an A. But anyway, Ascend. All these big companies realizing, and a lot of these companies have members and founders and people who have investments in prison stock. And it's like JB and his guys, I'm like, in my mind, I'm like, JB ran to be governor, to be this purveyor of weed contracts. That's what it looked like to me. I'm saying it may be a few other things he wanted to get across to his cronies to continue their wealth. But I know for a fact he became governor to make weed in Illinois legal. I guarantee you that.
That was one of his main things, If this exact words, if I'm elected governor, I would legalize marijuana, and we'll give back to the communities that was most harmed by the war on drugs. These were his exact words.
Would give back to the community that was most harmed, and that the war on drugs damaged and infected. That's what he would do.
He said he would reinvest in the communities that was most harmed. Sorry, man, we ain't seen none of that yet. 155 licenses in, probably when it's all said and done, we might have 2, 3 black companies, maybe none, because of the way the lottery might shake out. Because at the end of the day, they still have more opportunities than any of the social equity people. So we might get 1 or 2. So I'm still looking for the equity in that. Please explain it to me, Governor. Where is the equity in that? Those are crumbs, man. These people made $1 billion in 1 year. And yet, you telling us, be patient. Again. No, our patience are running thin. We all know they're going to give out a little over 500 licenses. I don't want to be the 524th license. I want in now on the ground floor. See, this is what you guys do to us all the time. You guys own the industry, you take over, you get all the best properties and all that stuff, and then they give us the leftovers. Oh, we don't want the leftovers this time. We want in from the beginning. And I'm just, man, I'm frustrated and I'm tired.
With that being said, I got some ideas, bro, about how we move forward and what we need to do next. And I would like to hear your thoughts on that after this break. So people, please call in at 708-223-8953. You're welcome to call in to weigh in on these issues. But you listening to the Frontline show powered by SupportYourLocalWeedMan.com. Go check it out. SupportYourLocalWeedMan.com. ECCSC T2 finishes. Thank you for tuning in. Come on back.
Who's this? Who's that? Who's out? Who's now? Who'll follow? Who's hollow? Who's low? Who's low? Who's deep in need? Who will sweat? Who will bleed? Who will beg? Who will plead in the land of the free? Who's black? Who's white? Who's wrong? Who's right? Who will stand? Who will fight in the day or the night? Who is speaking? Who will write? Who's protecting copyright? Sell your soul, sacrifice for the fame in these lights. Let me know what's your price. Who's gonna host these parasites? They don't care about your life. No emotion, cold as ice. Who's fire? Who's hired? Who's a boss? Who's a slave? Who's in purpose? Who's astray? Who's playing? Who's paid? What's the cost? Who's paid? What's the loss? Where's the game? Where's your mind? Where's your brain? What are the laws in this game? Who's wild? Who's paid? Who's a child? Who's a blame? Who's normal? Who's strange? Who's forgotten? What's your name? Do you know me? Or do you know you? Are you in
Welcome back to the
service or do you
Frontline
feel
Show, powered by supportyourlocalweedman.com. That's hashtag support your local weed man, T2 finishes, and ECCSC. We left off with the question I wanted to say is, or the statement I wanted to make is, what it's gonna take, man? Do we deal with it politically? Because we know the ball has already been in their court. They ran, it's 100 yards to touchdown, right? They on the, let's say they on the 10-yard line going in to score. So they ran the 90 yards, getting ready to score. And they got the best running back in the country. JB Prisker. They ain't got you handed it all off. I mean, you handed it off to JB Prisker. And the quarterback is the weed industry. Yeah. JB Prisker just running on in, do whatever it is that he need to do for the quarterback. And weed has, it's new to us, but it's not to them. They've been quarterbacking this thing for a minute ahead of us. And we sitting on the outside looking in of it while they violated our whole community with the 82 Reagan war on drugs and the 94 Clinton crime bill. And for all you all out there who love Joe Biden, he was one of the main people behind that and sponsoring those bills as well. And your homie Obama locked up a many black men while he was there. He didn't fix he didn't fix the prison system that Joe Biden and Clinton crime bill destroyed, and Reagan war on drugs destroyed. Your first black president, quote unquote, didn't do anything to repair the conditions of our communities caused by the war on drugs. But here we are standing asking JB to be just as benevolent, and he's a billionaire.
Yeah, but as I think about this, I know one thing that we have to do. You said policy-wise, we got to start putting like-minded people like us who's going to do something for us in office. And I keep going back to this, like, we put the same judges back in office time after time after time, the ones that's incarcerating us and giving us max sentence every single time. But then they give other people a slap on the wrist for the exact same thing. We got to start being smarter about who we elect to speak for us or who we choose to speak for us. Yeah. We have to do our own homework and make sure that we're doing the right things. And we putting plans in place where we're going to vet every single person that's running. We're going to post their history of voting.
Yeah. And most
definitely how do they incarcerate us?
Right.
And then we're going to give this information to you guys. So when you guys go to the polls,
that's right,
you make an educated decision, and then we put the right people in the place. That's it. That's how we win this game. We got to start being smarter on our part. And we're going to make sure we do that. Like I said, 2022, everybody on notice. If you're not doing what you're supposed to be doing, we're going to try to find somebody who's going to do the job the way we want it and how it was intended to be from day one. No more of this, I see you 6 months before election time. You all up in the churches,
Oh, man. Everywhere you go, we're going to be there with the bullhorn, even in the church. And in church, you invite these people, politics and money changing into your church, then expect for us to act up in your church. Don't want to be talking about we's God house. God don't care about no politician, no scribes and no Pharisees. I don't care. Don't be talking about you represent God and you constantly bringing souls to the polls to be constantly used as tools for that dirty religion. And then you think the church is supposed to be protected from the streets. No, the streets gonna come in the church. Now, I'm telling you that now, Pastor. Keep these politicians and crooked business folks out your church. if you want to continue to stand in front of the people as though for the people to see you as some type of righteous individual, then keep these pastors and politicians and businessmen about your church, pastor, because we don't respect you, because your word has no effect on the conditions and the circumstances of our community, pastor, because you allowed them to lock us up. You lobbied with them to lock us up. And then you sat back and watched them create legal drug dealers and JB cronies and the 75 white men who was given license. And all the legislative bull crap, that bureaucracy that goes into accepting and allowing these individuals to just walk into licenses without a fight, without a check and a balance. Then you allow the very devil that we asking for help to grade our papers, the very devil that you give your what is it called, your application to the same devil, and expect them to have equity and inclusion and truthfulness in the grading process that locks you out in the first place. How you thought that was going to be cool? How you go to the devil asking the devil to help you against the devil?
I don't know, but
KPMG is the devil and always has been.
And here's they got paid
how many millions?
About $4.5 million.
And
then they let college students grade our applications. Can you believe that?
Wow.
They gave the college students crumbs to grade our application. Where's the equity in that? You know, sometimes you just got to laugh at some of this stuff. You can't even make this shit up. I'm sorry.
Wow. No, hey, man.
You know what I mean? But you can't make this up, man.
That's why I might run for governor mayor, just to stand on the stage and just, he ain't going to win because you need money. That's the run. People keep saying, man, run for mayor, run for governor. I say, for what? You ain't going to come out. You're not going to come out and vote for me. You're not going to come out and see to it that I have an opportunity to fight with these people. But what I will do, I stand on that stage just to clown them fools. Just to clown them, I stand on the stage. It's sad, bro.
It is, man. And they thought this was okay for that to happen to us. And then we was just going to be quietly in the night and accept this. Once again, we have accepted way too much for far too long. It's time for us to step up, man. Black men, we need to step up. We need to take back our households. We need to take back our communities, our streets, and do what's right, man. And that's what we're about. That's what we're here to do. We're here to get everybody back on track. I ain't Martin Luther King, and I ain't fully Malcolm X neither. I'm somewhere in the middle. But I'm here to fight, you know. And we all know what happened to people who stand up to these people. Well, if that's my fate, that's what it is. Well, but I'm going out swinging for my people.
Yeah. Well, with that being said, bro, man, what good is to have all the wealth or whatever in the world and have no principle to fight for and to believe in as a man? It don't matter how much money. That's why you got all these billionaires. They have all the money in the world with no character, no principle.
And miserable.
And miserable as hell. But then again, they may not be. We hope they are, but they not, because this their world. See, this their world. They have pretty much given up all hope of heaven. And listen, for real. And us, as crazy as we are, we praying for a heaven that nobody has ever told us existed and came back to tell us how it was on the other side. So we don't get busy building heaven on earth like they do. They build heaven on earth for themselves, even if it's a mind state. Everybody in this country could live in heaven, bro. I'm just saying, you're going to always have people that have mental illness, that have other issues, that reprobate minds and things of that nature that takes them out of the comfort, the peace and peace and tranquility of their own hearts and minds. But, bro, we have enough wealth in this country, bro, for nobody that want for nothing. How is it possible that we have more prisons Then we have community centers in our communities.
And university.
And universities. We have more prisons than we have community centers in the city of Chicago, bro. I'm talking about with per population, you got 2,000 to 3,000 prisoners at one prison. Mm-hmm. Our communities are bigger than that. Well, you don't have 3,000. You don't have a center that holds 3,000 people at one time that can come together and have all type of activity to serve them. And no community, really. Do you have a place that can hold, unless you're talking about theater or a pavilion or something like that? But there's no center that can hold people in mass to come together to be about something for change and positivity. But yet we have prisons lined up to crime down the state of Illinois. And hence, the audacity of the cannabis industry, the audacity of the state of Illinois, the audacity of the state of city of Chicago to allow these drug cartels in our communities, and we haven't fixed the war on drugs.
Absolutely. Well, and we all know that's by design. You know what I mean? Prisons was put here for a reason, and that's why they made them, where businessmen can run prisons and get free labor. My son was incarcerated for 3 years. He worked every day he was in prison, and he went home with $200 every single day. So tell me, what is that?
That's slavery. 13th Amendment.
In a different form.
Duly convicted. Yeah.
Dude, it's just a different form.
Yeah.
Now, how you make a man work 8-9 hours a day, 10 cents an hour? Tell me what that is. And then you feed him the worst parts of the pig, the foots, the hooves, the intestines, and we supposed to be happy with that. Come on, man.
Unfortunately, we are. You're not. I'm not. We conscious, and we have to teach our people to be just as conscious and not be happy. So with that being said, listen, people, call in. If you want to talk, comment, you have a statement, suggestion, question, call in live at 708-223-8953. That's 708-223-8953. This is the Frontline Show powered by supportyourlocalweedman.com.
Who's this? Who's that? Who's high? Who's now? Who'll follow? Who's hollow? Who's low? Who's low? Who's deep in need? Who will sweat? Who will bleed? Who will beg it? Who will plead in the land of the free? Who's black? Who's white? Who's wrong? Who's right? Who will stand? Who will fight in the day or the night? Who will speak it? Who will write? Who's protected? Copyright? Sell your soul, sacrifice for the fame in these lights. Let me know what's your price. Who's gonna host these parasites? They don't care about your life. No emotion, cold as ice. Who's fire? Who's hired? Who's a boss? Who's a slave? Who's in purpose? Who's astray? Who's playing? Who's play? What's the cost? Who's paid? What's the loss? Where's the game? Where's your mind? Where's your brain? What are the laws in this game? Who's wild? Who's pain? Who's a child? Who's a blame? Who's normal? Who's strange? Who's forgotten? What's your name? Do you know me, or do you know you? Are you in service, or do you feel used? Can you afford time, or are you on the grind? Are you future forward, or do you press rewind? Do you feel sorrow, or do you feel great? Do you get love or do you breathe hate? Do you shed light or do you throw shade? Is that mass produced or is it handmade? You believe the tales or do you know the truth? Are you a free thinker or no you need school? Do you heal the people or do you spread abuse? Are you for certain or are you...
Welcome back to the Frontline show, powered by hashtag support your local weed man. Hashtag support your local weed man. Hashtag support your local weed man.com, T2 Finishing, and ECCSC. I'm here with our good brother Doug Kelly. We've been talking about the inequities in Canada, in the cannabis industry, and how we have allowed ourselves as a community to always be used as a tool for somebody else's dirty religion. The cannabis, dirty religion of cannabis, the dirty religion of this whole licensing process powered by our own people is atrocious. And hopefully we got a caller. Let's go caller. Who's calling and where you calling from?
Mark Carter calling from the
West Side.
I don't like to say West Side.
What you like to say? Well, we know what it is. We all on the black side and the bad side.
Hey, matter of fact, we keep on saying West Side and South Side, and we're gonna mess around. We all gonna be outside.
No doubt. So, Mark, we've been talking about the cannabis, and you and I have been talking about the inequities and how, with all the cannabis dollars that's supposed to go towards repair, re-entry, violence prevention, has gone to all these bogus organizations that hasn't produced any peace or hasn't created any change in the communities, yet they've been getting hundreds and hundreds of millions every year of our tax dollars. Talk about it.
Well, first of all, thank you for having me on your show. I think it's time that we, as the formerly incarcerated people, ex-cons, ex-felons, whatever we call it ourselves, we must oppose any group that goes out here and say that they represent us. You know what I mean? Because that would be equivalent to us not doing it is equivalent to heterosexuals going out and represent homosexuals.
No doubt.
That ain't gonna happen. And so I don't give a shit how long the organization been around, who they say they are. There's no way that NAACP on the West Side should have got $1.8 million for the cannabis fight when they've been against cannabis.
Right.
They've been against it. But money has a way of changing people's minds. And so we need to intensify the attack on the cannabis industry because they think that when they go get up with them old slave ship Negro organizations that everything is okay. And we need to show them that it's not okay and that we represent ourselves. We got to stop listening to these liberal Negroes that's working on behalf of white folks to come in and undermine them. Plain and simple. That's what we have to be right now. Because the more we try to respect them, the more they disrespect us. And then when we speak up, then it's this thing where you going against black folks in the public. Well, how the hell did they lock all us up? You had to be going against black folks.
No doubt about it. No doubt about it.
Consider us as black folks.
But the NAACP and all of them, Urban League and all of those groups, even pastors and politicians, supported Joe Biden, supported the Clinton crime bill, supported Obama as we was being ushered into prison. Now they crying out here, and we're going to the next segment. They talking about the carjackings and stuff. Now they crying about how our sons and daughters are eating up on them when they left them out to starve.
Listen, I say it all the time. White folks feed their kids because they know if they didn't feed them kids would eat their ass up. And so with these children out here doing what they're doing, hey, God is allowing these children to get these old sellouts held. That's good that they rocking the boat. That's good that they got them all shook up. Maybe they'll get up and do their job. Maybe they'll stand up and be men and women on behalf of the community. Don't tell me what's wrong with the children if you can't tell me what's wrong with the adults.
That's right.
The boy don't know how to pull his pants up because his daddy is scared to put his pants on. His daddy's a coward.
That's right.
All his daddy want to do is get up and go to work and just don't even look at trouble.
And his granddaddy.
Granddaddy, all of them, they're a bunch of cowards. You know what I'm saying? And so when these children are responding back out of pain, see right now the kids carjacking and robbing and and all this shooting going on, it is no different than a baby that's crying. If you don't pay attention to that baby will go crazy and run you crazy through the middle of the night. So you get up and you tend to that baby. You find out the baby wet. You find out the baby hungry. All right. Well, the baby is wet and hungry, and he's just 30 years old now. See, he's the same little crack baby that you used to, back in the 80s. You couldn't get him to stop.
Ritalin. They only put him on Ritalin.
There you go. And so the crack baby that was born in 83 is about how old now? About 40 now?
Yeah.
He's still a crack baby.
That's right.
He's probably just getting to the point where his mind has developed. And so, and then in the midst of that, he'd have had children. And so all these people, and just look at where they jacking now.
Hyde Park, Kenwood, so-called affluent areas and locations where black folk call themselves running away and getting away.
No, they ain't just running away, getting away. They in these neighborhoods with these nonprofits stealing all this money. You know what I'm saying? They hustling through these churches, these nonprofits, and then they go more in them affluent areas. And them kids know that they got some money over there. They catch them at the gas station and they jack their ass. That's God's will right now. God's will is that them Negroes get rain terror down on them kids. If y'all listening to this show, y'all keep on kicking them in the ass. Maybe they'll do right. I'm not mad at the children.
Hey, you know what though, Mark? Listen, the very people that claim to be so holy and righteous and they read the book, their very book said that children would turn on them, that the sins of the father would be passed on to the kids and children, and the children would drive them to God and drive them out. So they don't believe that their sins and their stealing. No, they don't. They don't believe they sin, they're stealing and they're killing and the stuff they did to us and ushering us and filling these prisons across the country is a reason for them to get kicked in the backside today.
Watch this right here. I'm not saying that they believe voluntarily. You know what I'm saying? I'm saying involuntarily with the thought of looking at that big old 45 or that honey shot. You know what I'm saying? Looking down the barrel of that honey shot. You know what I mean? Oh, they believe. See, remember how grandmama used to say, you be steady acting a fool. You know what I mean? And grandmama got tired of your ass.
Yep.
She said, you know what? You gonna learn today.
Go get that switch.
You gonna learn today.
Now you go get the switch.
Yeah, and you know what I'm saying? And so all the poverty pimps that over in Hyde Park and all the little uppity areas where they go run to with our money and all that, most of the nonprofits, the executive directors and stuff, they live over there. So, the kids are doing God's will. God's will right now is that they wake up to their devilish ways. Don't you know it's more criminal for them to be pimping the people through these social service programs than it is for them kids to jack their dumb ass?
No doubt.
And I mean that. I mean
no
it.
doubt.
What the hell I'm
no
saying?
doubt. You're telling the truth.
And so don't play woman when it's convenient, but your ass been over there stealing, you know what I'm saying, in Inglewood, stealing in Roseland, stealing in Lawndale, stealing in Woodlawn, where all the poor people are. You go over there and get your nonprofit dollars, and then you go buy you a nice old cozy little apartment, because most of them ain't got no damn number of the damn apartment that they renting over in Hyde Park. They ain't got no sense to own nothing over there. They ain't got no sense to own it. They over there renting. Over there just to say they live in Hyde Park and spending all that money for an apartment that they call a condo. Right? Crazy fools. And then them kids catch them in the gas station, and all of a sudden, these are those are women. No, them hustling mammies that's been stealing from these people, and God's will is for these children to wake them up. Now in the midst of that, there's a few casualties that didn't have nothing to do with it. But in the midst of war, there's gonna be casualties.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, it's our responsibilities to feed our children, It's
Yes,
our
sir. Or they gonna eat
responsibility to provide opportunity for our community, our children. And then we allow through these pastors and these politicians, they done allow Mark, they done locked us up for 40 years. They done locked us up, and then they allowed these clowns, with the help of our pastors and politicians, to position themselves to become doggone drug cartels. They ain't no businessmen. These are, anytime you make $100 million a month, Mark, you a drug cartel. You're different than a business person. And you made the same, because you just took $1 billion off the streets, Mark, where white folks was coming to our neighborhoods buying weed. Now you wondering why shorties them hurting and hungry out here. Take $1 billion out of anywhere, Mark, and watch what happens.
Hey, watch this now. We should say to ourselves, how the hell we got the biggest jail system, the largest prison system, we have more crime, unemployment, and poverty in a city where all the national leadership live.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Now, I'm going to even give Reverend Jackson a little leeway, because he's an old man, and I'm going to give Minister Farrakhan a little leeway. He's an old man.
Right.
But if I was Minister Farrakhan at his age, he got all them people around him, because they ain't doing a damn thing. All they just want to come out there masquerading and like
no doubt,
and they suits and bow ties. They ain't doing shit. You know what I'm saying? They ain't doing a damn thing. You know what I'm saying? Just like the Christian church, ain't none of them doing nothing. All they want to do is just stand there in the fashion show like models. You know what I'm saying? And if I was Mr. Farrakhan, all of them that's in leadership position, I'd fire their ass.
No doubt.
I would fire their ass, because ain't no way we're supposed to have all of this crime and unemployment and biggest jail system in a city where you got all of the national organizations. Somebody either don't know what they're doing or intentionally not doing.
Well,
and so
it's pimping all over the state, man. And every religion is pimping. Every religion is pimping.
Right, without a doubt. And for the NAACP to take $1.8 million for cannabis, and they've been going against cannabis, and just show you how much these Negroes is for sale, and see all them type of people like that that's doing that, they need to catch them and jack them. Those are the ones that I'm saying need to be carjacked, kicked in the ass, robbed. You know what I'm saying? See, people they can't say what we say.
No, they ain't gonna say it, because they got something that they got to wear a particular mask. But see, that's cool. We'll say it for them.
Yeah. See, they want to make the kids public enemy number one. These kids weren't born no carjackers.
No,
they
sir.
Were born little black children.
Well, okay? we sold them real quick before we go on break, Mark. We got to shut it down and let you close out. But I want to say to you, set it up. You out west, that's you in that area. Set up. Give me an address. We need to come over there and hold that NAACP. Since they want to take violence prevention dollars and claim they doing social development dollars in the name of the R3 program. Every person that took money from that list, and I got a list for you. Every person that took money off that list, we're gonna go to them and see how they using their funds.
No. We're gonna go there and protest and make them want to get money back. Because
that's right.
See, the day's over when they can represent us, and we didn't. First of all, we didn't ask them to represent us, and secondly, they get paid off representing us. And they don't never do the job.
And that's looking bad on the governor, because he's in his cronies. They give them this money, and then our communities are still in the biggest blight ever. And then they think they're gonna sit back and receive our grant money and not gonna be challenged. Let's change that reality.
Well, let me end by saying this: the kids ain't jacking them sellouts enough. They ain't robbing them sellouts enough.
They robbing the wrong people.
In their ass enough. You know what I mean? So I don't have no sympathy for no sellout. I don't give a shit if they're an old woman, a young woman, an old man, a young man. If you selling the people out, anything happen to you goes. Matter of fact, it's like this. Let me say this. It's like this. If your mom and daddy get bit by the vampire, that is no longer your mom and daddy. They're vampires. Well, these what they call Negro vampires. and they done been bit by the other sellout vampires. So they're not black women no more. They're not old men no more. They're Negro vampires. They sellout vampires.
Man.
And so stop carrying them like they're black when you know that they're vampires. Stick a stake in their heart. Rob them. Kick them in their head. Take their money. You know what I'm saying? All that shit go along with it when you would have sold the people out. They ain't got to respect you. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm
Hey, Ma.
I'm not trying to hear that.
Hey,
shit.
Ma, you gonna come on the show? I had you on the show next week. We can talk about the vampire old folks that's been sucking our blood for in city of Chicago. But we probably need to start naming names. That's how you do that. You gotta start naming names.
Your ass wasn't born old. When you started selling us out, you was nice and 30 years old. You know what I'm saying? That's 40 years later, you still want to do the same thing and play old. Yeah, okay, well, you know what I'm saying? Kick in your old ass in. You know what I'm saying?
All right, Mark, I see you. Hey, the people see you next week. I see a lot of laughs on there. But it's serious. We laughing, but this is dead serious. So, man, may God bless you. Be safe out there, man. I'll be in touch as we go ride on these organizations that got all this R3 grant money. Take care, bro. Peace. Thanks for calling in. So, people, we're about to go on break real quick. We just had Brother Vince walk through here, and I know he got plenty to say about the condition, the policies, the implications surrounding this cannabis, and the inequities that's overall. So, thank you for tuning in. You're listening to the Frontline Show, powered by Support Your Local Weed Band. Peace. Come on back.
Who's this? Who's that? Who's out? Who's now? Who'll follow? Who's hollow? Who's roll? Who's blow? Who's deep in need? Who will sweat? Who will bleed? Who will beg and who will plead in the land of the free? Who's black? Who's white? Who's wrong? Who's right? Who will stand and who will fight in the day or the night? Who will speak it? Who will write? Who's protecting copyright? Sell your soul, sacrifice for the fame in these lights. Let me know what's your price? Who's gonna host these parasites? They don't care about your life. No emotion, cold as ice. Who's fire? Who's hired? Who's a boss? Who's a slave? Who's in purpose? Who's astray? Who's playing? Who's play? What's the cost? Who's paid? What's the loss? Where's the game? Where's your mind? Where's your brain? What are the laws in this game? Who's wild? Who's tame? Who's a child? Who's a blame? Who's normal? Who's strange? Who's forgotten? What's your name?
Welcome back to the Frontline Show on IntellectualRadio.com. Listen, it's spirited and I love it that way. People ask me like, what is the support your local weed, man? See, the thing is this, and I'm gonna bring Vince in to talk more about it. The thing is this. My idea is that if you support cannabis companies, if you're buying from cannabis dispensaries at the current makeup of the inequities and the injustices that created the dispensaries, then you support discrimination, you support disinvestment, you support disenfranchisement of your black community, your black self. If you do that, and any white person who claims that Black Lives Matter that support these dispensaries from Cresco, Sunnyside to GTI Rise to what Pharmacans call theirs. They all got them, the names. You got to know about them and look them up in order to see. But all of them have these dispensaries. They had the medical, then they got the +1, I think. And that means they able to open a dispensary on top of a medical. So they already got a head start on the medical, and they use that as an excuse or a overlay for the underplay to get the dispensaries while we're being locked out and locked up. And then claiming to have, they use the term expungement of ex-felons as a justification and a pathway by which they can amalgamate into this so-called legalization of cannabis. So when we say support your local weed, man, we saying that the homie them been supplying weed forever. And where you think they got it from? They've been getting it from these big companies anyway. They've been hitting the street. We not growing none. We don't have factories over here. We didn't have that in Inglewood. So now they take $1 billion off the street and lock you up, but have no equity for you, have no opportunity for you. And then the very industry that claim to expunge your record is the very industry that have clauses and checks and balances that discriminates against you as an ex-felon. No matter what the case is, if you served your debt to society, you served your time, you cannot continue to perpetually violate and discriminate men, human beings, on the basis of their past. If that is the case, then we're going to perpetually charge white folks and their ancestors for slavery. You asked us to forgive you for the blood-soaked sword of our ancestors, while at the same time, we went to jail, served our time. You did none of that for the crimes you committed against humanity, against our people. So with that being said, Vin, go ahead, man.
Well, no, I think you bring up valid points. And like I said, I've never been an ex-con, but I know plenty of them. And I think one of the best ideas I've heard when it comes to that is when you talk, what's expungement without reparations? Man. Because to your point, $1 billion was made in 12, 13 months. And the first people that should have got something should have been those that were locked up for these same crimes. Because to your point, what good does you giving us our free, but then what? You know what I mean? This is like the 40 acres and a mule.
My organization called Ex-Cons for Community and Social. I'm not hiding that I was an ex-con, so right. I don't care about your expungement. I ain't hiding.
But the thing is, like you say, even with an expungement, what good is an expungement? Because now what you gonna do?
That's right.
You know what I'm saying? And
you still get discriminated.
Exactly, because you still, just because you was expunged, and I mean, most of that money that they do have that is supposed to be going to the R3, I know y'all probably touched on it. You know, some of these organizations, I'm not speaking ill about nobody, but you know, facts is facts. And if you just look at the track record of some of these organizations, what do they have to show that qualified them over your organization, some of these other organizations that are out here that are really on the grounds, that's really caring about these people?
They know the game. They know the metrics. See, they put false numbers and metrics. They can make 100 calls.
No, I tell you what they do.
100 people.
No, I tell you what they do. They got the pretty presentations. They got the people to come in and make it look real nice, so that when it's time for them to justify stuff, they throw that down with some numbers. And then when they do their board meetings or their quarterly reports and all, it looks real good. And those same organizations will come to your organization, give you $1,000
names on there,
right? No, but then they'll give you, man, we'll pay for the food, we'll give y'all some t-shirts, and we'll do the banner.
Yeah.
And then they'll come out and they'll take the pictures of your stuff, put that into that nice presentation when they go how they board meeting. It's like, man, look at what we're doing for the community. And then they'll go get $1 billion or $1 million or $2 million off of that. Take care of salaries, do whatever they're going to do. Still at the end of the day, you don't see the real matrix of what have those programs yielded. They'll give you a program, but they won't say what their overall program has yielded. And to me, that's like the biggest issue within our community, is there is no accountability when it comes down to where are these dollars going. It looked good on a press release. It looked good in the paper. But then, 2 months later, 3 months later, now what? Because again, there's nobody really holding them accountable, because once that money goes out, and again, I'm not singling out any organizations on that R3, but my question is what happened to the grassroots organizations, which the R3 money was supposed to be for? I didn't really see any of those on that list. And if there was, there were the
course of a year, I probably touch 1,000 ex-cons' hand.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I guarantee you none of them can say that. In the course of a year, our organization, ECCSC, probably in collaboration with other guys, because we all do this together, because it may be some out west that's finna spill over south, and we get together and bring them to do de-escalation. That means that we have a police department that receive a $2 billion budget with 11% clearance rate on murder. That means they solve nothing.
Right.
They respond to everything. Here we are, probably stopped over 200 to 300 shootings.
Mm-hmm.
Yet that is not quantifiable.
Exactly. Yeah. And
You
see, that's what I'm saying.
understand?
You don't know how to measure those metrics, because again, how do you justify that you stopped some? Well, you wasn't here to know. You know what I'm saying? How can I tell you, because you don't know him and you don't know him and you don't know what just went on, that we stopped a whole block from getting shot
Because
up?
it's actually never often the guys that's in the beef. It's often the spraying of the bullets hit innocent people.
Mhm.
And the catch they go after don't get hit often.
Right. Well, I was talking to a police officer, and I didn't realize. So I was getting my hair cut one time. Quick story. I was getting my hair cut one time, and then I saw on the news where it was just like, little homie just got shot. And I was like, how is it that the police got such good aim that they always hit what they shooting at, but guys don't? And I didn't know I was sitting right next to a police officer.
Right.
Oh, and she got hot. She was like, have you ever been shot at? I was like, well, no, I haven't been shot at. She was like, well, I'm gonna tell you something. This is what usually happens. They know most of us just trying to get home. We ain't trying to be in no gunfight. And so the first thing they do, as soon as they start running, they just start shooting behind them backwards and just shooting.
Right.
And once they start shooting, once we duck and see that they just running,
we
shooting.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Because now they threatening my life. And I'm like, but they just really trying to get away. It looks like, because if they was really trying to shoot you,
they would go.
They'd be turning around trying to aim. And she was like, well, they shouldn't have a gun. They shouldn't be putting on the police. At that point, it was no need me trying to argue that or say anything. Because again, I haven't been there, so I'm not going to try and argue your truth. But it's like, I see why y'all always hit and they always miss. Because like I say, most of them boys ain't trying to be shot by the police, but they ain't trying to get caught either. And they know y'all ain't going to run. And once they let off a couple shots, they got at least 20 yards on you, and you ain't gonna catch them boys if you ain't running like that. You ain't gonna catch them.
Gentlemen, I have a question. So this license process, I'm hearing, what is it? 23, 6 people, what? It's
21 total
license.
6 of which are
any of the big boys in this process? The Crescos, the TGTIs, and the Pharmacan.
I'll let Doug speak on that. I'm more the novice when it comes to that.
So when you say 23, because I want to know,
okay,
I want to know these groups. That's the 21. I don't care if they're white or black, because they have a responsibility too. Even if they get a license, everyone should be responsible.
So what happened was, a lot of the big companies, they went to our communities and they paid people, few $1,000s to use their name. But they're still in control of it.
Right.
We have.
So you saying the white companies pay our brothers and sisters to use their name? Because I heard it was like a lot of people was on the same application.
Yeah. Look, my group, we actually got a hold of one of those service agreements. And in the service agreement, they basically gave a guy, you own 57% of the company, pending us getting the license. Upon us getting the license, we're going to buy back 52% of your stock. Listen now, for $1,000. So now you go from being an owner that if we get a license, we're going to give you $1,000. You're going to give us those 52% back. What? So you're going to have 5, right?
So they gave them money up front.
No,
nothing. Some
got paid up front. I'm talking about
like
this specific group. No, bro. I'm telling you. So here's the thing. Think about it. If you got a clear record and it's a lick for them, you know what I mean? So a lot of people I done heard, they approached one of my boys and he didn't sign it, but he's like, Vince, what they wanted to do, they was like, well, you ain't got to worry about it, because if we get this license, we're going to pay you like $10,000 a month and you ain't got to do nothing. And he was like, but wait a minute, if I'm going to get that money and I'm going to be considered owner, how am I only getting $10,000 if I'm an owner? And it was like he was asking too many questions. So they went and found somebody else who wasn't going to ask no questions. And they actually took the deal. So they got a lot of people like that where they was giving them $1,000, $500, because again, it's free money for you. All they needed was your name with that slave master calls. All they needed was your name to say that you was on, or you was going to be one of the people they was hiring or something like that.
You say,
so okay, see, here's how it is.
Listen, people.
It's 21 groups that were got into it, the 75 license. So some of them groups put in 1,000 applications, 500 applications, so they would get more chances to win by doing exactly what he said. They come to you and it's like, you be owner, and then they gonna buy you out after so many years,
right.
Or some of them just got a flat out, I get the license, you take this money, and you a silent partner. Basically, right. So you have
that's still white owned.
Right, you still don't have any control,
right? No equity
over the process. You know what I mean? So, and then there were 6 groups who were what we call true social equity applicants, but it's a lot of cloud around a lot of things.
It's like when you define something that's true. I'm a true black man, or I'm a true woman, or I'm a true. When you define something as true, that means no flaws in it to me. That means real. So if I'm able to find flaws in it, it's not true.
Well, see, it all depends on that's coming from a thinking man, though.
Right.
Yeah.
That's coming from a thinking man. You know what I mean? So I'm not throwing no shades on nobody.
It ain't
just listen. Because, you know, we don't know what those people's situations are and things of that nature. But at the same token, they do. If they get put in that position, they need to be held accountable.
How do I find out the 6 true so-called social equity groups? How do we find out who they are?
We know them.
We know them.
Okay. So and all due fairness to them, you know, they're really the collateral damage in this whole situation, because some of them truly are like us,
do the right thing.
I mean, some of them really truly are. Some of them aren't, but I don't know who's who and who's what.
My question would be is, if I'm true social equity, and like you say, collateral damage, I'll be looking for the real collateral damage of the formerly incarcerated to somehow leak up. I heard one person ever say that, and that was Sister Asada.
Mm-hmm.
She said, we actually got ex-cons signed on a part of our process.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't heard those other groups. See, because say, for instance, just say if you say I'm signed up, I can then say, hey, this was the process. In the beginning, I was signed up, I represented the ex-felons, and I know a portion of whatever I make going towards the organization, and I'm going to do my part to make sure wherever I receive the ex-felons that I'm associated with, and figuring out how to bring about the change, because I'm on the inside for this group. That's not like it. It's no different from the white groups that as it relates to the true social equity. Every group should have ex-felons of some sort, because you're talking about issues. Because if I'm coming to bring issues, Vince, and say, wait, bro, I can't be a represent LGBTQ properly, and I get licensed to represent LGBTQ, and then turn around, I'm heterosexual, and I have none of them on my board.
Right.
To speak for what they dealing with and going through as this population or this isolated group of individuals. Mm-hmm. How in the world I can be real, true social equity when you ran on expungement to get this passed as a result of the war on drugs to filter dollars back to repair what you broke. So if you made $1 billion and you haven't filtered 100 million back into the communities that you say was broken, what the?
So again, that just goes back to another dot that's being connected, and it's a trend. So it's not just in cannabis, and that's kind of like what we were talking about. Cannabis is just something that's being exposed right now. But if you look across the board at all the things that he said over the last, I'll say 3 years.
He
started
in terms of JB.
Yeah, I'm talking about the governor,
JB.
right? So it's like, if you look at a lot of things that he promised, and I'm gonna take it and keep it 1,000. When George Floyd, transitioned, they did a whole little tour, right? And they was Juneteenth, and he's Black Power, and he gonna do this, he gonna do that. What has happened since then? You see plenty of press releases. You saw all kind of press when he was going around. I hear your pain. I feel your pain. Like, he's done a lot of talk. When it comes to the actual action, facts are facts, and it shouldn't be that hard to prove. If you ask, what have you actually done? And that's kind of like what we were doing the other day. Is just, with the public hearings, is just like, let's call facts. Let's just talk about what you said versus what has actually happened, and not just asking a question, but coming with solutions, because we feel that if you had them, you'd be using them, especially knowing that you got an election that you got to come with. And elections is all about talking about, look at what I did. Mm-hmm. And so it's like right now, that's a difficult task if you really don't have nothing to show. And
he's gonna have the same old pastors and politicians out there backing him.
No, but see, that's where I'll take it to this point.
I will ask, where the Republicans at? Why don't they see this as an opportunity to link with a disenfranchised people?
So let's keep it 100 about them. Yeah. So again, you've got some that no matter what, they don't believe that we can come together and actually deliver, because they've paid people in the past who just took their money. So like when I used to
the Democrat.
No, I understand that, but see, again, you're supposed to be Democrat because that's what black people are. Mm-hmm. So when the Republicans have reached across the line, so when I did Leslie Munger's race, right? They gave me originally, they asked me for a budget. I gave them a real budget, mm-hmm. and they was like, "Oh, well, Vince, we were thinking more like." Now I'm talking about, they wanted me to do 3 counties, right? In the 3 counties, they said, "Well, Vince, we were looking at more like $7,500," and I was like, "To do what?" And they was like, "Well, we got a lot of volunteers up here in Lake Forest." I was like, "Yeah, but you were talking about Republican spots where you can get volunteers. But I'm talking about Inglewood, Hyde Park, right. All these places, they're not going to volunteer. And if I don't have the resources, how am I going to actually make sure that they're able to do what y'all need them to do?" Yeah, they mad, but they not stupid. So when they didn't give me those, they gave me that first little bit of money, and what I did, they expected me to take the money and run. But when I set up a shop and a camp and the whole nine, and they came and saw it, the guy told me, he said, "Man, Vince, the last time we gave a guy $10,000, we didn't see him no more. But then when we looked at where he was supposed to have his people, we rolled up and they had Quinn flyers on one side and the Republican candidate on the other side."
When to wrap up, Earl.
They took the same money.
Keep it rolling.
They took.
All right, cool.
They took the same money and basically his events, but we didn't know what to do. So that's why we really don't trust, because they've tried it before and they always get burnt. So it's like now they really are, I believe they just sitting on the sideline waiting to see who really shows up and is real, because it's 2 years out right now. And I guarantee you in the next 6 months, they're going to start dealing with those people that they see out on the front line really doing stuff and showing that they know how to be fiscally responsible with money. Because a lot of times when they've given money, the person who gets the money gets their bag and then they piece off a little bit just to say they're doing something. So they don't have nothing to show for it. And that's why I say it's real important we doing things, the accountability and showing the actual matrix, so you can actually show this what I got, this what I did, here's what I delivered. They understand numbers. And if you can't show that, or they can't see it on TV or see some things, that's wasted money to them. And they'd rather buy a commercial that they know gonna hit 1 million people, and out of that million people,
build
10%. Exactly. Yeah. So it's like now as we continue to advocate, do these different things, I do believe they will come stepping to the table, because I've always said this, it's been
because
written.
You have to have something to push back on these Democrats who believe that they got the state of Illinois locked down with brainwashed Negroes that's gonna go to the polls regardless to what it is.
I think that the re-evolution has started, and it started with the fair tax. When that fair tax failed, they had all kind of money put into that, knowing that they was going to run that through. And they brought it to the pastors and the politicians who didn't deliver the numbers. So don't believe they don't see that. So it's like now they're seeing that old playbook that they've been running
pastors and
ain't
politicians
necessarily
hustling with
happening.
the souls to the pole.
And the thing is, they don't know. See, and that way, our responsibility at this point is to actually educate, like what you're doing, what Doug is doing. We have to educate our electorate because, again, we can't wait until the election starts. We got to be doing it right now because that's what Stacey Abrams did down in Georgia. When she saw she lost, she went and got with Jack and Jill. She went and got with the Divine Nine. She got with all these different organizations to educate them like, hey, look, your polling places change. You might have to wait for 6 hours. And as she started to show them the importance of voting and things like that, they were prepared. So when it came up, they stood in them line for hours where normally, we gonna roll up. We ain't gonna stand in the line for no club, let alone voting.
Right.
But they saw the importance of it. So that's why we have to do right now. It's not about just the presidential election. It's these midterm elections and these, the state reps, all of them. But see, we don't know that. And see, once they took civics out of the classroom, you see what I'm saying? People don't even know what all of them are supposed to do. They don't even know what they state rep. They don't even know these things. So it's like as we start to educate them, and I like to use the parody when you look at Sanford and Son. Remember you had the cop in Sanford and Son, Schmitty and Hoppy?
Yeah.
Whenever Hoppy had something to say, what did everybody do? They looked to Schmitty.
That's right.
And Schmitty broke it down for them. They're like, oh, okay. So we have to be the Schmitties in our community to actually break down a lot of these issues and things so that people can see how is this important to me so that now I can move. I know which way to go and not just wait until somebody tell me, here, vote for him, here, Democrat.
So look, on that note, you stay, Vince. I'm gonna switch spots with you, Doug, with Everett. And I'm gonna let them know to come on in after this break. People, come on back. We've been extended, and we got a few more minutes. We want to talk about some more issues, but listen, you listen to the Frontline show on Intellectual Radio, powered by SupportYourLocalEman.com.
Who's this? Who's that? Who's high? Who's now? Who'll follow? Who's hollow? Who's low? Who's low? Who's deep in need? Who will sweat? Who will bleed? Who will beg it? Who will plead in the land of the free? Who's black? Who's white? Who's wrong? Who's right? Who will stand and who will fight in the day or the night? Who will speak it? Who will write? Who's protecting copyright? Sell your soul, sacrifice for the fame in these lights. Let me know what's your price. Who's gonna host these parasites? They don't care about your life. No emotion, cold as ice. Who's fire? Who's hired? Who's a boss? Who's a slave? Who's in purpose? Who's astray? Who's playing? Who's play? What's the cost? Who's paid? What's the loss? Where's the game? Where's your mind? Where's your brain? What are the laws in this game? Who's wild? Who's pain? Who's a child? Who's a blame? Who's normal? Who's strange? Who's forgotten? What's your name? Do you know me? Or do you know you? Are you in service or do you feel used? Can you afford time or are you on the grind? Are you future forward or do you press rewind? Do you feel sorrow or do you feel great? Do you get love or do you breathe hate? Do you shed light or do you throw shade? Is that mass produced or is it handmade? You believe the tales or do you know the truth? Are you a free thinker or no you need school? Do you heal the people or do you spread abuse? Are you for certain or are you left confused? Are you voting red party or you claiming blue? Are you standing still or is it time to move? Are you studying, stepping or are you in the groove? Do you know your worth? No, you got more to prove.
Once again, thank you. You're tuned in to the Frontline show on IntellectualRadio.com, powered by #support your local weed, man. Once again, Support your local weedman.com, T2 Finishes, and ECCSC. Man, I got Everett here, Barry. I've been waiting on him to come on through, and he's here. So, Everett, tell the people who you are, what you're doing. Come on a little closer to the mic, slide the chair, and talk to the people that they listening.
Hello, everybody. Good evening. My name is Everett Barry. I'm the owner of Mills Hart LLC.
I say, right, he killed with the hats. Boy, the brims is
And,
cold.
but I'm the owner of Mills Hart LLC and also a Mills Hart Hemp Life. I'm here tonight because I just got my mind right. I've been around a long time and I've made many moves in the community, and I always wondered, how do I get these moves to be sustainable? So I'm joining here with these two brothers here and a few other organizations outside of us that's here at the table right now. And we've come up with some very concrete solutions. And so we're here to bring it to the masses.
That's right. So as it relates to, we was talking about the cannabis, and we extended the show because the people listening and they want to know what's happening, and we Vince, Doug, they delivering some powerful information. Mm-hmm. So as it relates to this cannabis, you being from the streets like I've been in all my life, and seeing our young brothers in the system, and you've been there, lock us up, bro. And now we got a whole cannabis industry that fed off of our bodies fed the state of Illinois prison system, bro. Across the state and the country, we was the gateway, or cannabis was the gateway to heroin, cocaine, and then pistol play. Because now we got to control the territory that we moving. If our block is moving 5 or 6 pounds of weed a day, I got to protect that because I can't have you selling down the street and you ain't a part of my mob.
Right.
So now all these ancillary things happen. Guns, all of the different stuff.
It's all a trickle down effect.
And now you selling me that industry now saying you can't be in this industry unless you have a minor case is the only reason you can do it. But you lock them brothers out that's been incarcerated as a result of the war on drugs.
Well, the war on drugs won the war on minor cases.
Right.
First of all, so it's always
they define the rules.
Them politicians. See, I'm gonna keep it real tonight. So the politicians that are in position right now, they not from the streets. Okay. They may have had family members that were from the streets, but they were protected.
They're not feeling
it. They don't even have a clue of what it's about. You see what I'm saying? It was brothers like me and you that made it easy for them to even go through college and come home every on holidays and be safe.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying? So they not paying homage back to that. Mm-hmm. You understand what I'm saying? They thinking that the professor is the one that taught them everything they know. And let me say this, if it is the professor, what they have to understand, and I'm speaking to the politicians, what you have to understand is they only taught you what was in the chapters in the books that they told you to read. Mm-hmm. And none of those books was about life.
Right.
They were all about the assignment or the class that you were taking. See, if people would just stay in their lane and understand what they're good at, and stop trying to make decisions for the masses when you can't.
Having the masses at the table.
We'll say that again, Tyrone.
Without having the masses at the table. They making a decision for ex-felons. They make a decision for our communities without our communities sitting at the table.
Absolutely. And that in itself is ridiculous. How are you going to go to space without no astronauts?
You hear me? Wow. That's simple, right?
Right.
We would think, right?
We would think that, but see, brothers like us that's here tonight, we know that that's not the case. I'm 49 years old, man. I've got 8 kids, and I'm doing a wonderful job raising them, and not because I said it, but my mama told me.
That's a woman.
My uncle told me.
Right.
My father told me. My children tell me every holiday. They love to take care of something, do something for dad. We got to give back to dad.
Yeah.
Right. So I say that to say this: everybody needs to be led, and the politicians that's leading each other is the blind, literally leading the blind. So it's time for that to stop. It's time for us to get up, get our life together. That's why this second chance is so important. That the governor, in not only in this state, but every state throughout the United States. We're gonna focus here on Illinois, but what I'm saying,
no, it has to. We linking the minds
this,
all across because this guy's like us in every state.
Absolutely. Yep. So this has to be spread throughout every community. But we're gonna start here like in Inglewood and Roseland and Chatham and K-Town and you know what I'm saying, and many more different communities. But it's time for us to be in those positions and do what's supposed to be done because the people that's in them, they don't understand.
They actually, you got it. They don't really understand. It ain't even that they don't care.
Right.
They just too egotistical to even say we need some help.
Don't hit no more grand slams like that tonight.
Oh man, we got to. We got to.
You know,
we got to, bro. Yeah. We have to bring it out, bro. We have to make them understand. They need us to even make policy. Absolutely. You can't make policy implication on the people's lives without the people.
Without the people.
How you do that?
That's imposimpossible. That's like saying
it ain't impossible because they doing it.
I'm gonna write a letter without a pen. I'm gonna do my arithmetic problems, but that's okay. I don't need a pencil
or paper.
Or paper. That's what that's like saying.
So you got a lot of false numbers.
Yeah.
Well,
you can't even start.
You can't even start.
So I'll challenge y'all in one. So like if you look at everything.
Oh, real quick, Vince, hold that.
Yes, sir.
Proud of you, brother. And I'm telling that to everybody on the, when you guys go through the prison industrial complex and come out, even with all the things stacked against us, and try to and not try. Make a better way for themselves.
Absolutely.
That should be commended. This is the type of stuff that you would think the Crescos, the GTIs, the PharmaCans, and all these big dispensaries would line up with because they all claiming that they have a social equity program that deals with violence, that deals with reentry, that deals with giving back and repairing the communities and that was destroyed by the war on drugs. So we the epitome of what the war on drugs look like. Now that we've transformed my life and transforming the lives of people around us, you would think that's what they would line up to. Yeah, really although they run on that, absolutely. They don't stand on that.
Right. That's not a direct line. It doesn't hit our homes directly. Like we haven't been impacted by that whatsoever. The gentleman, Van Coney, that brought me here, he known all through Chicago. He's had cars that were seized from marijuana.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's time for us to go. We playing. We about to play. We in the 9th and the 9. We about to win. Go ahead, Vince. You remember your thought?
No. So what I was gonna say is that it still comes back to the basic communication and organization, and like everybody don't understand everything, and that's why we have to. If you look at, I do a lot of analogies. So if you look at a baby, right? A baby can't eat steak, right?
Right.
But that's the kind of information that comes out. It's like steak for a baby.
To our community.
I can't eat that.
Why are you one at the meeting? Why you didn't make it to the hearings?
Man,
why you didn't?
Look, I had somebody tell me that.
Being more, the information isn't it isn't broke down. It isn't regurgitated.
It's not filtered through us.
Yeah.
No, exactly.
So you giving a baby a steak, it has to be blended up into
some juice and put in a bottle.
Juice form.
Oh, mama,
guess what happens? Right.
Yeah.
And guess what happens when the baby tastes that juice? If you give a baby steak and they choke, they grow up thinking steak ain't good for them, right? It technically ain't, but you know what I'm saying.
I
but then when they get that steak and they put it in a blender, mama done chewed it up for them, then they be like, that's okay. So now as they grow and develop and they get teeth,
the taste.
They can understand now, this is what I need my teeth for, so I can chew on that. But see, a lot of times with information, when it comes down to the community, it goes over their head. They can't understand it, so they don't even want to deal with it,
Mhm.
not realizing that you need this. But if it's broken down like what you're doing, what we're trying to do right now, when you break that information down to people where they can understand how it affects them and give them some directive and this is what you do with that. So now that way, when they are presented with lies or information that's not true, they have the capacity to ask a question based on them and some information they know, that if you're a professional at this, like a teacher, if you're a teacher, you're supposed to be able to teach. So if you're a politician, you should be able to speak about your policies and how they affect the people that are in your community. And if they come with a challenge to you, you should be able to stand on whatever it is you stand on. So it's like now they'll go places where they're comfortable, where they know people gonna love them. But if they start going to them same places,
Right.
and them old ladies are asking them a question that they really can't answer, they're gonna stop going.
Exactly.
And as they stop
But
going,
that's rightfully so, though. I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like who gravitates to something they don't understand, or who gravitates to something that they feel as though they're not a part of?
right.
I mean, it's just common knowledge.
And I think, and you know, like the strategy we're talking about, most elections are won with 30 to 35% of the populace. So that means there's a whole 65% of
That's
people
on tap.
that ain't even exactly. They don't even bother going after. So it's like, so imagine if you get half of that 60, if you get half of that 65 and half of that 30, that's over 50%. You can win. You don't need that whole 30, but most people attack the 30 and try and figure out what they do in that 30.
I said I may run for governor or mayor just to clown them on the stage.
Well,
Hey man, listen,
don't clown
bro.
them.
No, they
Run
gonna get
because
clowned.
we need you.
No, man, that may be what it takes. See, our people,
They need a contract.
they need something.
Right. They need to see
you
something to
can't
compare
go
with.
and play the same game they are in the political correct arena, because our children don't care about none of that.
Right.
You almost got to show them up every chance, because they want to be precise with the political correct terminology. And you saying up there, you're a damn lie.
Right.
You ain't lying. You ain't been here. You ain't been there. Now you inspire something different. They don't want that type.
Here's
of
what
stuff.
I here's what
They
I
don't want that type of person running.
Well,
for
I add
nothing.
to that, Tyrone. When we do that, we back it up with
That's
facts.
right.
You see what I'm saying? So
That's-
then that way, when you
that's
right.
right.
call somebody out, they can just easily be like, "Oh, he just tripping." But when you call them out and then you back it up with facts, that's the way anybody who really want to check on that, they're gonna go check. And then they got something to compare. See, what usually happens, we come with problems and issues without showing facts and solutions. Because if it's so easy for you, and this is the position you've been placed in, if I present a fact, the only way you can change that fact is with another fact.
There's no question.
And most people, when they look at information, they looking for the fact. And if you can't defend the fact, then you must be lying. And if you lying, most people don't like to be lied to. They do it, they get it all the time. But then they'll come with some more stuff, knowing you ain't gonna never check it, because ain't nobody really contrasting. And when we do contrast, they can write it off as, oh, he just angry, he just mad because he didn't get this, he mad he didn't get that. But when you can back up facts where it ain't about me, it's bigger than me. Y'all been doing this for this long, and here's the case. Here's the case in point. When you start to put things in perspective and you can do actual facts and show examples, that makes it real difficult for them to paint the lies that they've been leading people on. And as we can start to educate our people and getting them on one accord to where they know the information, they can ask those hard questions. They can bring up them facts. So even if it ain't, they hear from you, but if you give them a reference point that they can go, they may not know exactly what you said, but they can say, man, HB 6384 is da 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 da. And how come you voted no on that when it should have been a yes because da 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 da? See, what they don't realize that now through technology, you can track everything they doing. And now that they got Zoom, you ain't got to go to Springfield.
That's right.
You can watch and then call and check up on, well, why you said this when you was at my nursing home, but when you got down there, you voted no.
Well, I like to go to Springfield.
Oh no, it's gonna be plenty time to go.
So with that being said, listen, y'all, we got great information going on here. We're having a lot of fun. So we're gonna come back after these messages. So remember, Frontline, the Frontline show on Intellectual Radio. Call in live 708-223-8953 if you like. That's 708-223-8953. Powered by supportyourlocalweedman.com. Come on.
Who's this? Who's that? Who's high? Who's now? Who'll follow? Who's hollow? Who's low? Who's low? Who's deep in need? Who'll sweat? Who'll bleed? Who will beg it? Who will plead in the land of the free? Who's black? Who's white? Who's wrong? Who's right? Who will stand and who will fight in the day or the night? Who will speak it? Who will write? Who's protecting copyright? Say your soul sacrifice for the fame in these lights. Let me know what's your price. Who's gonna host these parasites? They don't care about your life. No emotion, cold as ice. Who's fire? Who's hired? Who's a boss? Who's a slave? Who's in purpose? Who's astray? Who's playing? Who's play? What's the cost? Who's paid? What's the loss? Where's the game? Where's your mind? Where's your brain? What are the laws in this game? Who's wild? Who's pain? Who's a child? Who's a blame? Who's normal? Who's strange? Who's forgotten? What's your name?
Welcome back to the Frontline show on Intellectual Radio. We got an exciting conversation and demonstration going on here, man. And I really enjoy this. It's like, people, listen. You know, I sat in a prison cell for 21 years. That's 2 decades, man. Every day. It wasn't a day that went by that I was saying, when I first arrived to prison, my goal was to go over the gate and make them shoot me, because I wasn't doing 21 years. I wasn't doing 21 years, and I thought it was rather inhumane for 24-year-old officers to tell me, a grown man, what to do. I thought it was rather inhumane for people to see parts of my body that I ain't never seen. And yet we sit around and talk about we men, but even gangsters, young homies out there doing all this foolishness, even gangsters and those that's out here claiming to be gangsters had to come through a search procedure where they make you spread your butt cheeks and look up your rectum. As a man, no matter how tough you think you are, as a killer, as a whatever, all of this disrespectful stuff that you do to your women and your children and your community, when you get in that prison system, it's the most dehumanizing, humiliating episode in our lives, isn't that, while we're doing time? And I experienced that for 21 years. Absolutely. The level of disrespect and inhumanity to man ever. So when people see me out here on the front line, thinking they don't understand. I got all that built up frustration of disrespect from white men who use the prison industrial complex to violate black people, black community, and to further push slavery to the forefront in another form. Yet we sit here and we judge these shorties out here on the streets that's killing one another. We judge these shorties and say, why they doing this, why they doing that, why our elders, our pastors, our politicians, elected officials, and so-called black leaders, from the NAACP to Urban League to all of these big mega churches, watch black men get incarcerated and locked up wholesale, and then turn around and watch and cheer on J.B. Pritzker and his cronies when they make marijuana cannabis legal. What they should have been said is, before you can make cannabis and marijuana legal, repair the doggone injustices caused by the war on drugs to our community.
Yep.
Then if you do that, the first 75 licenses or the first medical in one should have went to a whole, it may have been a group of 100 ex-cons who had to sense the file. Then another group of 100 ex-cons who had to sense the file. Then another group along with intelligent people that can help them get the applications in that file. But it should have all been equity to repair and build men up that you destroyed and bring them back to the community in hopes that they would then take the revenue, $1 billion in cannabis sale in 1 year, and filter that through the community. But essentially what you've done, and I'm going to let my brothers touch on this, what you've done is you took $1 billion off the street that white folks would have normally been spending in the hood buying weed, And then you say, why these shorties here hitting you upside the head? Why they hungry? When a white man rob us, we call them businessmen. High taxes, high this, high that. Put all the terror. Amazon is a businessman, although they're a monopoly. All these monopolies set up in our community to take away funds and money out of our community, robbing us, from the Arabs to the Indians to the Asians, all robbing us. They doing business, robbing you. They just don't do it with a gun. So when these shorties say, get up out that car, you don't see that as business.
Right.
But that's the hate that hate produced. And you watch them produce it because all of y'all are the Democrats that continue to allow under the Democratic Party, under the 1982 Reagan war on drugs, under the 1994 Clinton crime bill, and then Joe Biden assisted, as well as Obama, we got these issues in our communities. These cities are Democratic led, Democratic ran. So therefore, Brother Everett, you take it, man. I talk about this stuff all
because
night.
I'm over here about to burst out of the scenes while you talking, like, but
it's real. It's the subtle things that we don't see.
Yeah. So just to touch bases back on what Brother Muhammad was just saying, it's like this. If you get parking tickets, the city of Chicago will come and take your car from in front of your house. You could be at the grocery store and they'll take your car. But when they do it, it's legal. But when the shorty in the hood be like, hey man, I'm tired of walking. My gym shoes got holes in the bottom of them, man. Every time I ask for $1, well shit, times it got so hard, and then you gotta go back to the crackhead era, even when you go to here, so it's just different things that transpired throughout this war on drugs of why our communities are infested with the different violent crimes that are going on right now today, that no government in the United States is addressing the reasons why. But what they want to do is they want to pay organizations under the table, what I'm saying?
That don't live and represent our community.
Yeah, they want to pay them under the table to not do what we doing right now, exposing it. You know what I'm saying? So they want to make the world think that, oh, we fixing the problem. See, look at this person right here, because some rich white person adopted a black brother or African brother, you know what I'm saying, and gave them a life. But it's only, if you line 1 million people up right now today, and I mean that number, 1 million people right now today, it's only 100 people that can tell you a story about a white person that helped. But they'll go find that goddamn black person or that African person, boy, and put them in the face of our people to speak for us as a people. I mean, quick, fast, and in a hurry. But the thing is this now. I'm warning those individuals that are letting their bodies be used and their faces be used to be careful, because now you got brothers like myself, Everett Berry, that's no longer sitting on the couch because I'm getting a good check. You know what I'm saying? Like, my check ain't worth a dime if my community is falling down on his knees, and I realized that for the last 3 years. I've been realized it, but the last 3 years, brothers, I've waken up. Like Donald Trump, I want to give a shout out to Donald Trump on our radio show tonight. You know what I'm saying? I want to call you my nigga. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to call Donald Trump, you my nigga, Donald, because you woke me up when could nobody else wake me up. You know what I'm saying? And yeah, you have done a lot for blacks, but I don't think what you done, you're going to like it moving forward, because we coming for our checks. We coming for our houses. We coming for our cars. And nevertheless, we going to get all of that because we coming for our businesses first and foremost. That's right. You know what I'm saying?
Feed our family.
Yeah. And so I want to pass the mic over to my brother Vince Bass, because I know he definitely want to vibe off me.
Well, yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, I can't stress communication enough, because like to what Everett's saying, it took Trump and all the ills that he did for people to really wake up and see, when he said he did a lot for black people, at the end of the day, he actually did.
If you look at
when you look at why he did it,
technically,
exactly, technically,
mindset.
Yeah. And it's like I say, he did, but it's like he could have done more. But you got to look at the motivation behind him doing it. You know what I'm saying? It's like I say, the one thing I heard somebody say, and I gotta agree with him, I don't believe Donald Trump is a racist. I just don't. He's worse than that. He's an opportunist. He's a narcissistic opportunist, right? Yeah, so that means basically I care about me and anybody that care about me. So he gonna speak to whoever he feels he gonna get the most out of, and it just so happened exactly. So look at all the people that they was his boys. Then when they wasn't with him, he talking about them, right? And if you look at like a lot of the left, the white supremacists and all those guys, he was speaking to them because he knew they would love him and they didn't have no leader. And he was like, man, because you think about it, back when he was in the 80s, when he was the example of success in the hip hop community. Right, sure was. He was the example. People they putting him in his songs. He hanging out with him. He going to the parties. You see what I'm saying? He did his show. Cool with that. He was cool with that because again, they looked up to him. He had no problem with that. And it's like it took another thing. Like when he gave, and I'm not trying to be a Donald Trump fan, but I'm just speaking facts. When Nelson Mandela came out from apartheid and the whole nine, got out of jail and came to America, it was Trump who gave him a plane so that he could travel the states. Nobody else did that. You see what I'm saying? So if he was a real racist, he wouldn't have done that. You see what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, he's an opportunist that's narcissistic. And so, we talk about waking people up. You got bad and good. Sometimes it's the bad. Like bad news travels faster than anything.
Yeah, well, it was definitely bad for me. His behavior, his mentality. So it wasn't that he let me eat breakfast the way he ate breakfast that woke me up. You know what I'm saying? It was definitely the opposite. Yeah,
he showed his true colors.
This is what I'm banking off of with JB Pritzker here in the state of Illinois. Like, my eyes are wide open. Okay, and so like, how can you have justice reform, or how can you say that this is like somewhat of a reparation for the black communities when you're not giving them? Listen, it don't matter what type of drug case that you got locked up for. Everybody that's ever been convicted, and now let's be fair, we'll say from 1980 to date, if you got a drug case, you know what I'm saying? Because they was already preparing the war. They didn't mention the war and release it, and then that's when they started it. You know what I'm saying? They had a great run on it for years before they launched the war on Black America.
Noriega was pumping through Reagan and the Contras. They was pumping dope and that's how we got cracked.
Yeah, but so that's why they have to
on before they then decide, we're gonna have a war on drugs. We're gonna lock up Noriega. We're gonna lock up these ones to make it look like, we getting the number one supply of dope and cocaine.
Right. So everybody in the black community that's ever been locked up for any type of drug case. Now, let me say this. If you had a submarine and you was transporting that shit over here in the submarine,
you need to go to jail.
I love you, but I ain't gonna speak for you. Because you shouldn't have got caught in the first place with that submarine, man. But everybody that was going to Miami and coming back to Chicago or going to New York and going back to Detroit or going back to Washington, D.C., I'm saying the state from state transactions. Well, first of all, most of the black people, whenever we do something, we just very magnanimous with it, okay? So...
you drive back with kilos.
Yeah,
you drive back with kilos in a drop top bed.
Yeah, so right. But like I'm saying, if you wasn't in no submarines or you didn't have no ship, them planes, them crop planes. So these jokers, they was riding $5-6 million planes after. So you know what I'm saying? Like they had military planes, bro, where they could drop, like, well, they drop a tank out of the back of the plane. They was dropping loads of dope like that down in Miami. Yeah. So one thing for sure is I'm 49. Now, I know it's been black because we always had our specials, but it wasn't the whole. Like, we don't have a black community where we got boats lined all up across the lake or you know what I'm saying? So every brother should have their record, or every sister should have their record expunged. That's the only way we can talk about giving life to the hood a second chance.
To society shouldn't be caught up in perpetual incarceration. Once you served your sentence, according to the Constitution of the United States, you did your duly convicted, you served your time, and you finished parole. you further was victimized through a parole process that's never unending. I mean that's unforgiving, and you walk through that paper, then it's absolutely necessary.
And so
that
what
we
I'm
get
saying
an
is,
expungement.
if somebody was running for office that believed that, I know I could get you 1,000 votes just by making a phone call or two.
That's right.
But you know what I'm saying? And this is what I'm saying, like, it's us. You know what I'm saying?
It'll
And
take
the
us
people
to
love
save
us.
us.
That's right.
Yep.
And so I say this for those of us that's listening, those of us that's been out here on the field, you know, it's serious.
Oh, this serious.
You know, this isn't no. I'm a successful businessman.
Yeah.
I made it. I could pay my mortgage and my car note if I don't do nothing but just wake up and go fix my kids a bowl of oatmeal.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So I'm not. So they can't say no more that it's because the person that's been incarcerated is mad.
Well, it's the people that's been incarcerated that's fighting out here the hardest fight.
That's right.
Y'all about to wake up and see that.
That's right.
Dude,
Because-
what judgment do we have for that?
Well, we're gonna start getting some good judgment for it because no, we are
Hopefully.
because it's gonna take us
It could save
to train us. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So it's more, you know, that's saving us is part of training us, and training us. JB Pritzker
Loving
is
us.
what we saying. All those people all those organizations that you sent all that money to,
we gonna
you know what
see
I'm
them.
saying, out of the R3. Well, the only thing that I can say to that is you need to be contacting them. You need to have Juliana Stratton contacting them organizations and telling those organizations
Give me some
to get in
soul.
touch with us,
That's right.
to not give us something,
They don't have
but
to
give
do
us
it.
what we need to do what we need to
to
do
do
for
it.
ourselves. Now listen, we're not asking you to give us nothing. What we're saying is these funds are allocated to the people
To
that
do
has been
what you're supposed to do.
disproportionately
Yep.
served. You know what I'm saying? These are the people that was living in the communities where the war on drugs was launched on. So we're not asking you to give us nothing. What we're saying is, would you please stop giving this to all of the people that don't even know what the hood means?
Well,
You know,
The
so
idea
you got to just make,
it.
like you say, we got to make them accountable.
Accountable.
Because now that we know, like I say, the worst thing that could have happened for a lot of these people is technology. Because now you ain't got to go try and find and dig and do a whole lot of stuff. It's easy to find. It's easy to figure out. And now that right now, people need wins, right? The governor needs wins. These organizations needs wins. And what they're not used to doing is having to account for being winners. And see, right now, like I say, this
Because losing is a common thing. You don't have to prove you winning.
right.
Because if it's the organization that constantly receive the funding, then I'm gonna just keep giving it to the same people who, and then the boards, that same people. If you follow the boards of these organizations that receive the funding, you'll see that they the same recycled people in the policy and the politics of this city. They the same recycled individuals from. I ain't gonna even say no name tonight. I ain't gonna even say their names tonight. But in the future, y'all, we calling you out. We gonna go knock on your door and say, hey, you think you can contribute some of that R3 money over here so we can get some of these carjackings down
and I want to
these
tell
shootings down and these employment and open up some more businesses and
sir.
get some
Yes, sir.
you understand what I'm saying?
And I just want to say this to those people. I ain't gonna say no names either. I'm gonna follow my brother.
That's
Lee.
right.
Like I hope y'all looking at this. We working together.
That's
You
right.
gotta pay attention.
We
scared of that.
Follow your lead, right?
Yep.
But I'm gonna say this: we don't need y'all money
Nope.
for us to move this movement. It's already funded.
It's funded.
Yeah. And
So you better get on board and do what's right, because if you don't,
We're gonna remove
and
you.
I'm speaking to anybody that's not making sure that the information is getting down to the black communities, that the funding is getting down to the black communities. And we're not talking about those old communities like all them people that was on that R3. We talking about all the people that hasn't been on there, that's working on the ground, like this man right here. He got a truck out here and he got vehicles and he's helping people. He's riding around in the middle of the night, making sure that
Like a fool.
nobody, not
Like a fool.
like a stand-up man.
I
But
take
they the fools for not paying attention to that. They
Yeah.
the fools for not watching and saying, hey,
Yeah.
all I got to do is fund him and I'm back in office and we making progress. They the fools. You got this brother here that's taking the time out of his life. You know what I'm saying? When he could be taking care of his mother every day, he coming out and putting programs together and putting the people together. Do y'all know how hard it is to bring people together? You know what I'm saying? And this is the work that these brothers is doing. You know what I'm saying? Becoming presidents over coalitions. You know, you all been hearing, you know, brother just left out of here. He the president of a coalition. And if you think that that's not wearing on him as an individual, you know what I'm saying? Like, come on, y'all. It's time for us to start saying, okay, let me do my part. We don't need your money. But if you believe that you've been mistreated, that your organization has been overlooked, then this is your time.
And
You know what I'm saying?
it's been our time. We've been patient. See, it's like you're gonna hear us and we're gonna be cogent at how we explain it. Then after that, we already understood that our community's been at war. The war on drugs destroyed, demolished our communities. We understand we've been at war. All type of levels of psychological, mental warfare. Y'all even use PlayStation and all them to teach our sons Grand Theft Auto.
Right.
And gave them points for knocking black women upside the head for taking their cars. And then y'all want to holler, sisters, y'all bought y'all sons them games because y'all was ignorant. Ops and all this shooting and zombies and shooting. They'll your kids out here shooters. They not killers. These guys not killers. You can shoot anybody and they'll die. But that don't make you a killer. They taught these shorties at 9 and 8 years old how to rob and carjack from the gun. Why we ain't suing PlayStation?
Well, they desensitized.
Why we ain't suing these
maybe
gaming companies?
Maybe we need to think about that.
That is, and I said it on this show, Frontline show. We need to figure out how to sue them and make sure, and for the dollars that cause our women are suffering as a result of our shorties out here playing Grand Theft Autos on their mamas, their sisters, and their community.
Because the white man sued all our rappers, gave them plain hell.
And
you know
they
what I'm
took
saying?
them off
Just
the
for
air.
speaking.
Cost them money.
Yeah, you know, so that's a great idea.
Bro,
you know what I'm saying?
we gonna get our lawyers.
It's a real good
figure
idea.
that out. Now we're gonna make them cop out and settle out for the whole black community. You know how easy it is for PlayStation and them money to give you $1 billion and go and sit down somewhere.
Yeah, it's just as easy as them saying, "Hell, here go the check."
Yeah, and like you say, basically those games have desensitized our youth at an early age. So it's like we've never seen, you know, back when we used to see cops and robbers and people get shot, you would hear the bang, you'd see them go, and they go down. Nowadays, in these games, you seeing the blood splatter. So when they see it in real life, they've already seen it in the video game, and they desensitized to that. So it's no problem for them to kill because they didn't see what death looks like when you look at some of these games, and they can opt out. Either it could be the kid-friendly version or the violent version, but all of them, when I saw Mortal Kombat, I couldn't believe what I was watching. When it's as gory as it is, it's easy for a kid to cut somebody's head off because they done seen it already.
Yeah.
And they like, oh, that ain't shit. They didn't seen it.
For their imagination to take them to the point of wanting to see it.
Right.
But this is the deal.
In real life.
Right.
But when we looking at, man, and we watching that, people always say, well, we started at the house and parents. Fool, ain't no parents at home. The kids get their tutelage from other children. And we're going to sue the record industry, too, for all this sliding and drill music. This is what's happening, man. We done flooded our community, man. White folks ain't, listen, you use black people, our condition, it affects us. You overly police, you police yours and lock us out your community. Your kids buy that music. Your kids buy that music. Black folks ain't buying no music.
No.
The white kids buying that music and you locking our kids up. Your kids buying it and making it popular. The radio making it popular. These Jews, believe it or not, these Jews who own these record labels, who own this music stream, this live streaming stuff, the Facebooks that will lock us up for talking like we like, lock us out, but allow shooting and all type of gory stuff to be played on there for our community to witness. All type of sex and violence.
What's the sister Layla? Layla,
Yeah,
sister Layla.
Yeah.
I know Layla had an initiative going where she was
she-
charging the radio station, because it's like, if you look at it,
Gotta sue 'em.
y'all are playing the music that's making these kids go wild, and the good music you not playing.
That's
right. But they'll run stuff in rotation, talking about popping mollies and Percocets and all that kind of
Percocet.
stuff.
Molly Percocet.
Right.
Woo! Percocet.
Yeah, and they're not blurring that out. They letting that music play, and that's why my hats off to Layla and what she's been doing. And like I said, we need to really pay attention to a lot of this kind of stuff, because there are movements happening. But most people look at people like Layla, you, me, as like we like Chicken Little.
Yeah.
We crazy, because we were saying
Troublemakers.
the sky is falling, right? And they thought it was all crazy. But now you see, years later, what we've been talking about, now you can actually see it. It's coming to full fruition right now. And that's why it needs to be exposed. And we got to get the regular people got to get out of the, well, what I'm going to do? I ain't nothing but, no. Every voice is a voice. And we need all of those.
The cannabis industry, the tobacco industry, all these gas stations, all these corner stores set our children up to be cannabis smokers. Since Swisher Sweet.
Yep.
They got all type of Dutch under the blue. Give me the purple Dutch and the red.
Look, they make more money off of blunts and stuff than they do anything else.
That cannabis industry, they set us up to learn. They was getting us ready. They should, bro, long before we understood it.
Yep.
And we saw it happening in our communities. And these people owe us reparation all across, from the from the tobacco industry to the liquor industry, all these Arabs, these Indian, all these gas stations, all these corner stores, all these associations. I'm telling you, we're at war against everybody. They all owe us, and we've been victim of our own ignorance, bro.
Yeah.
We up now.
Yeah.
That's
so
it, right.
We may not make it out this building. You know what I'm saying? Somebody might have a stethoscope waiting on us, but we told the truth.
Yeah. Yeah. Best shoot straight.
Absolutely.
No doubt. But we shoot back.
Right.
But we shoot back.
Right. Better shoot straight. That's all I said. Just shoot straight. Make
Look,
it count.
Well, we got a few minutes. I want you and y'all to close out, tell the people where they can find you, what you doing. Then Vince, you do the same. So let's go real quick.
Once again, my name is Everett Berry. You can find me at mias_heart@yahoo.com. That's M as in Mary, I as in ink,
And your store
A as in
located on
Apple,
95th,
S as in
right?
Sam. Yes. _HEART @yahoo.com. I'm located on 2311 West 95th Street at the Collective Lab, where we're helping the youth with any ideas or any concepts that they need. We got a space available for you to work in as a co-working space. And we're building alliances with other organizations. And we're going to definitely be in this power struggle to get our lives back all the way to the dirt.
No question. All right, Vin.
So my name is Vince Bass, and I got a consulting company called Invincible Ones. That's INVINCEABLEONES. So it's Invincible Ones. Email is at vbass@invincibleones.com. I got a Facebook page and all of that, but you'll see more of me, because some of the things we did yesterday, with the march at the governor's mansion. We're talking about having these public hearings throughout the month of February, going all the way through the summer, to basically just raise awareness to the actual issues and be that Schmitty in the community for all this hoppy information that's coming down. We're going to be able to break it down to you and get more everyday people to get engaged. So just pay attention, stay in tune. Shouts out to our sisters that's in the struggle with us. We don't do a whole lot of name calling.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to see what we do versus talk about what we do. You're going to see it.
Yeah, no doubt. And with that being said, we're grateful to IntellectualRadio.com. We're grateful to the people, like you say, all the sisters behind the scene fighting, and those that are true to the fight and the struggle, and that's not out just merely seeking something for themselves. And we recognize and acknowledge that that y'all standing with us as we, as black men, find our footing and stand up for y'all out there and create some opportunity for our sons so that they can stop victimizing you all. Because make no mistake about it, these young brothers that's doing that, we dropped the ball on them. And I don't say specifically as it may things. I don't think I dropped the ball specifically, but my action shows that I'm trying to fix the ball that was dropped. So,
Right.
so with that, with that understanding, until we correct our community, our households, God is not going to bless us to be successful in anything if our women and children are terrorized by the few little nomads that's running wild. And we require resource. We demanding our resources. We demanding diversity, equity, and opportunity, inclusion, or we gonna take it. So either way it go, you gonna give it to us, and we doing it the right way, honorable and peaceful. But when we take it, don't say look at them savages and look at them animals, because we coming for what's ours that been promised to us, and we gonna call ourselves and be truly Americans. Then we want every part of the promise that is this country, because we built it. Make no mistake about it. We built it off our backs, our sweat, our blood. So with that being said, this is the Frontline show on Intellectual Radio, powered by supportyourlocalweedman.com. Thank you for tuning in, and we'll see you next week.